So, as predicted, guys, guess who's getting out of jail? Gabrielle, tell them. Is it someone who got drastically over-sentenced for the crime that they committed?
Or someone who committed the most egregious crime.
Cold-blooded murder of their parents. The Menendez brothers are getting let out of jail. We called it. We told you that was going to happen.
But they're rehabilitated.
It's like, that's honestly not even what the district attorney's statement, it included a thing like, I'm going to paraphrase, they got life in prison where they had no reason not to join a prison gang and just go all in on prison, and they didn't even do that. You're all, what prison gang was going to take the Menendez brothers?
Well, I'm sure there was one.
If they were going to be there, you like that? You think that that's how you get into a prison? You're just white, and they're all, yes, that guy. They're all, show me how you use your tennis racket, Lyle. He's all like this. This is how I do it. Give me a break, okay? You have to be like a street guy, killer, to be in those prison gangs, not a tennis player from Beverly Hills. That argument is so ludicrous. Bro, so if I was going to summarize what the DA said, he said that sometimes women who are abused, they hit a breaking point and they end up shooting their abuser. Thus, in a situation where two guys, sociopaths, psychopaths from Beverly Hills who were getting cut out of their parents' will. Was their dad a jerk? Sure.
Yeah.
They murdered their dad and their mom. Okay? They needed to kill their mom in order to get the money, right? They killed their mom. They didn't just kill their dad.
Correct.
I don't understand this gap in logic where people, it's like, guys, what about the mom? It's insane. They're letting them out of jail.
Like, I genuinely don't understand how the conversation even started. I mean, they murdered people. Like, I understand prison, like the rehabilitation idea behind it. Sure. But these are people who killed their parents
for money.
And people are like, well, it's their parents. They're not a threat to society. Someone else who has money that they want, you don't think they can just go kill them again?
Well, their whole argument is they're like, these guys were the victims of horrendous abuse. Right. Says who?
Exactly.
First of all, says who?
This popped up what years?
Well, it was their defense in their trial.
Yeah.
But that came up in the trial after they were caught
on record
red-handed. Yeah. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't care if they were abused. You don't get to kill your mom also. Okay? Yeah. You want to whack out your dad? I mean, we can have that conversation. You killed your mom.
The story changes with the mom.
Because then
it's about
your mom.
The money, not about retaliation or revenge. It was about getting the assets.
Or you're just so psychopathic. Like, if it's not about the money, which it was, but if it's not about the money, you're so insane that you don't recognize that killing your mom is completely out of bounds. Like, I am not a person who would say, like, if someone is constantly, even just beating someone, just beating them, at a certain point, someone can stand up and they can fight back. If the only way they can fight back is with a gun, okay. But there's also two of you, and you're 18 and 22. You guys can beat the shit out of your dad.
Men.
Beat the shit out of your dad.
Yeah.
Now, if he had been putting things in your mouth that you didn't want, and that's what we're talking about, which is what they said it was.
And snappers don't generally have an alibi and set up this whole elaborate thing. There are people that snap in a moment.
This is premeditated.
It's premeditated. They tried to have the alibi. They went through all of these steps trying to cover their tracks. This is not like, I just lost it 1 second and killed my aggressor.
Correct. And they premeditated they planned to kill them both. Mm-hmm. And they have never even pretended that their mom participated in this. Their best is, well, she knew. Okay, well, if he's an abusive psycho, then she's probably terrified of him.
Exactly.
Also, you don't get, I don't get it. People are so stupid.
Yeah.
They're it continues to catch me off guard how stupid people are.
It shouldn't. It really shouldn't.
I mean, but with things like with a thing like this, they walked into their living room. Think of your living room where you have children, or think of your living room with your parents. They took 12 gauge shotguns and they shot them both over and over and over, killed them. Have you ever shot anything with a shotgun? Do you have any idea what that scene looked like? Their mom put her hand up like this and they blew her hand off. That's the first shot they got taken. Blew her hand off. Okay, imagine going through that. Matter of fact, let's just talk that. Imagine that think of all the ways you can die. Okay, the worst death of someone that we know was someone who we were pretty close with, who was at Half Dome And was, I don't know if you guys know what Half Dome is. It is a very famous hiking site at Yellowstone, right? Or is it Yosemite, right?
Yosemite.
And it's like you have to, it's so steep, you have to hold onto this cable to go up and down. They got caught in a storm and the cable got shocked by lightning. And in front of her sister and a bunch of their friends, she couldn't hold on anymore because it kept getting struck by lightning. She let go. She slid down the mountain knowing what's on the other side, which is a 600-foot cliff, slid off of it and fell 600 feet to her death. I've thought about that so many times
same.
that it's like, she's holding on for her life, life or death terror. And at a certain point, she lets go, and then she's sliding down, looking for a place where she can grab onto. There's nothing she can grab onto. Her sister's watching this happen, and then she's in the air. And in her mind, probably, I'm dreaming. Wake up. You're not dreaming. Okay, I've thought about that a million times.
Yeah.
The only thing that I could think of that's worse than that is realistic, is you are sitting and watching a movie with your husband, and your two sons walk in. Your children. And they shoot your husband, and you're like, okay, I must be dreaming. Then you go like this, then they blow your fucking hand off, and you're like, oh, I'm being murdered by my children. They're killing me. And they proceeded to do exactly that. That's how her life ended. Who deserves that?
No one. And the people who did it do not deserve to see the light of day.
They don't deserve to live.
Exactly. That's another thing I was going to say. Controversial, obviously. But like the death penalty, had we actually done what the death penalty is for, we wouldn't even be having this conversation 30 years later. It's not a conversation that should be had. These are people that you don't have in society anymore. They're broken people.
Exactly. That's, I believe in like obviously some form of civility, but like,
of course,
you go and you kill your parents, and you'd rather get it wrong than get it right. You know, or like whatever. It's like,
drug crimes,
whatever.
Theft,
it's like,
like things like that. I'm like, sure, rehabilitate these people that stole something or distributed drugs or whatever. But when you've committed violent crimes against another human being, deadly crimes, I'm also thinking about, people who hurt children or whatever. Like
they're gone too. Gone.
You don't get to participate in society.
In correct society, if that dad really did that to the kids, then we whack him out.
Exactly. But
not the mom.
But there was nothing. There was no.
There's nothing on record at all.
Yeah.
Until after they murdered him. Here's what is on record. Okay. Here's what is on record. He was very, very like on them. Probably physically abusive, but definitely mentally abusive. Whatever. But like a hardcore,
he was not a good person.
Rich dad who's like, you need to be better than her.
Yeah.
So Lyle, the older one. Lyle is the older one, I believe, and Eric is the younger one. Either way, the older one is at Yale or Princeton, one of the two, and he gets caught cheating and he gets kicked out. He comes home and his dad says, you are a failure. I'm cutting you out of the will. Within 2 weeks, him and his brother murder him and the mom. They get caught. Then I was
the
great. And they do that, and they go on the stand and they do the, I didn't want him to do it. And people are like, oh my God, you gullible motherfuckers.
But they didn't even believe it in the courtroom. Apparently they were convicted. They got life without possibility of parole.
It's always been a big conversation. Oh, do you think it was true? And I'm like, who gives a shit? He killed their mom. They killed their mom.
The jury obviously felt
correct
one way.
And when you watch the documentary, like a woman who is one of the main journalists who looks like a kind of bleeding heart person, she's like, it's a lie, dude.
Yeah.
It's a lie.
Now we're sitting here talking about it 30 years later.
Because they're letting them out.
Yeah. But
based on their word alone.
Exactly. These boys have had 30 years to come up with their story.
35.
Whatever it is.
I think.
And like the whole thing of they didn't join gangs, like, well, what else are they supposed to do with their lives if they're stuck there? These are kids that
they were Ivy League kids.
Yeah, they came from an educated background. Of course, they're going to gravitate to like starting a program for GEDs or whatever they were doing,
helping people fight their cases. That's how they stay safe in jail.
My dad did the same thing. Mm-hmm. Not like his crimes were not physical crimes, but like. He was not a good person.
That's what you do in jail.
And that's what you do if you're a smart person.
If you're not a killer.
You do something to keep yourself sane. Exactly. Well, those guys are killers. So.
Well, if you're not a prison killer.
Yeah.
Like walking in with shotguns on unsuspecting people who you're related to is a lot different than walking around with a shiv and putting it in a rival gang member.
Touche.
Or your own gang. I mean, like, bottom line, This is fucked.
It's horrible.
It's fucked. And I guarantee, Kim Kardashian right now is like, God, thank God. What are you talking about, Kim
Setting
Kardashian?
a crazy precedent too. Like, imagine what this is going to open up.
Well, no, just like, why them? Because they're good-looking white kids from Beverly Hills. Mm-hmm. Like, imagine this was a not good-looking person who's like, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Do I even need to say it?
Don't say it.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Do I even need to say it?
Don't say it. But you're not wrong.
Exactly. Of course I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
You take out any of those categories that these little scumbags fall into, and boom, this has never happened. No one would take up their case, whatever.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. That's it.